comes to this perfume, and this is Glossier Doux, this is the travel size of this bottle, it was not love at first sniff. It's been a bit of a journey when it comes to this perfume and me, and I'm excited to talk to you about it. So welcome to my perfume channel. This is my first video over here. I have a separate channel that is dedicated to skincare and makeup and all things beauty, but I also am quite the perfume lover, so I thought it might be nice to have a separate channel just completely devoted to perfume, because I do have quite an extensive perfume collection, and it ranges from very vintage perfumes to perfumes that I have from the 90s and the early 2000s, as well as more recent launches such as the one I'm going to be talking about today. So I will be doing perfume reviews of more recent launches, as well as diving into my collection and talking to you about those perfumes that I have, and just talking about perfume in general. I'll just kind of see how this channel evolves, but I really wanted to start this channel to really just take a dive into my perfume collection and share my perfumes with you all. So let's talk about one of my more recent additions to my perfume collection, and that is Glossier Doux. And the reason why I started this video off by saying that this has been a little bit of an evolution for me in terms of how I felt about this perfume, and that begins at Sephora around, I think it was the holiday time when they released this, and I was really anxious to give Doux a try, as well as Rev. That's the other perfume that they released in conjunction with Doux. And I really did not like Rev, and that has not changed. I just was not impressed with that perfume, which kind of surprised me because I do like plum, and there is a plum note in Rev, and I did not really get much plum from Rev. It just kind of felt, if I'm remembering correctly, sort of like a synthetic-y kind of plum juice. But anyway, when I first applied Doux at the store, I felt like it was not anything original or special. It just kind of felt like a sweet, woody perfume to me, and I really didn't give it much thought. And then I went to Sephora another time and decided to give it a second go around. And I think I felt the same way about it. I just didn't think it was that special. I felt like it did have sort of this buttercream note, which kind of surprised me because buttercream is not listed in the notes of Doux, but it is listed in the notes of Rev. So I found that a little bit confusing to me because I didn't get buttercream in Rev, but I did get buttercream in Doux. But then it just kind of turned into a basic woody type of fragrance for me. And again, I did not really feel like it was anything particularly special. And then a few weeks ago, I think I was watching a YouTube review. I'm not exactly sure what piqued my interest again in Glossier Doux, but I just kind of had this memory bank of the experience of Doux, and I thought, you know, was it really that basic? Was it really not that special? Did I actually kind of like it? And I just began to revisit it sort of after either reading an article about it, or I can't remember exactly, again, like what piqued my interest about it, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. But I knew I didn't really feel like making another trip downtown to go into the Sephora store, and I did not want to purchase a full bottle either. So I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to fulfill this desire to smell it again or experience it. And then for those of you who know me and my other channel and my other life that is obsessed with all things beauty and skincare and makeup, I have actually, and I haven't talked about this on my other channel yet, I have actually really fallen in love with the Refi lip balm / lip glosses. And so I went on Sephora to look and see what colors they have. And I realized that I had a $10 code, which you can get as one of those, you know, bonus perks or gifts or whatever they call it. And I popped over to Glossier and I saw that they had the travel size. And I thought, well, wow, if I can just purchase the travel size and get $10 off with this order that I was going to place, that seemed to really justify just taking the leap and purchasing the travel size, which obviously I went ahead and did. And just in terms of the actual bottle of this travel size, I'm just very impressed with the packaging of this. I love how it has this special gradient to it, almost like the ombre tone, that it's clear at the bottom, and then it develops into the opaque creaminess, which is very in line with how this perfume smells. And then it has this signature indentation that the full bottle has. So it just feels very special, not just like a generic travel size. So let's get to how this actually smells. So now that I have this in my possession, obviously I've been able to wear it a lot more, and I have actually really fallen for this perfume. I don't know as if it's something that I have actually fallen deeply in love with, but I am having a little bit of a honeymoon phase with this perfume right now. So the notes are listed as violet for the top notes, Palo Santo, frankincense, and myrrh for the middle notes, and then the base notes are ambroxan and ambrette. Now I'm gonna go ahead and spray a little bit on me right now. And as far as the top notes go, that is where I am getting this buttercream experience, which is kind of interesting because I usually feel like that milky creaminess usually starts to develop more in the heart notes. But in the top, I'm definitely getting milkiness, which I really, really like. I think it's really interesting and kind of unique. Now, I know listed in the notes it says iris. I'm not really getting iris per se, but there is kind of this brightness, not a citrusy note, but a brightness, sort of elevated sparkliness that I think might be the iris there. Now, iris to me is kind of like a chameleon type of note. It can be powdery. It can also be kind of vegetal. It can be green. It can be so many different things, I feel like, in perfumery, and the iris in the top here is kind of along that more bright green type of iris, and it's blending really nicely with this creamy lactonic note that I am getting. So I'm really, really liking the top notes of Doux. And I do remember liking that when I was first at Sephora experiencing this perfume. And I think that's what I had in my memory bank of kind of becoming a little bit obsessed with this perfume as time went on. So anyway, really, really love the top. And then as the heart develops, and I sprayed Doux on my right wrist earlier today, so this has developed much longer than what I just sprayed over on my left. In terms of how it develops, Palo Santo definitely comes out in the middle, but I would not say that this is a Palo Santo forward type of fragrance. For me, the Palo Santo is pretty fleeting. So if you're really looking for something that is going to speak very heavily for you in terms of Palo Santo, I wouldn't say that this perfume is it, at least not in my experience. The Palo Santo is kind of there in the background. It's a little bit more gauzy. It's a little bit more transparent. And for me, Palo Santo is quite a strong note, and it can be a little bit camphorous. It can be a little bit sharp. In this perfume, as Doux suggests, Doux means soft in French, and I know I'm not pronouncing Doux very French-like, but anyway, Doux means soft, so I wouldn't expect the Palo Santo in here to be that strong. So it's more of a whisper, it's very subtle, it's not a strong Palo Santo, it's kind of like a suggestion that you meet in the heart of this perfume, and then it kind of fades away, and then the base notes are very clearly the ambroxan and the ambrette. And ambroxan is a synthetic note that is supposed to be kind of musky and warm and woody and kind of give you a little bit of an ambery feeling. I wouldn't say that this is super ambery, although with that kind of lactonic, buttercream scent that I was talking about, that does actually linger into the base. So, maybe I would say this is a little ambery, but amber light for sure. I wouldn't say that this is one of those knockout amber type of perfumes. And then the ambrette is also musky and a little bit ambery as well, somewhat. So moving back to kind of my evolution with this perfume, as I have been wearing this more, as I have had this in my own possession, I'm not trying this on in a cosmetic store like Sephora with all different kinds of, sights and sounds and smells going on. As I have this in my own home and I'm wearing it in all different kinds of, atmospheres and moods, I really, really have been enjoying Glossier Doux. I feel like it's very cozy, it's very comforting. I just cannot get over the top notes. It's one of those things where, you know, kind of like when you take that first sip of tea or, you know, any kind of like first bite of anything, you know, the first bite of like a warm cookie that's just out of the oven, or, you know, that first bite of, you know, toast with butter on it, you know, as it's coming out of the toaster. This perfume gives me that type of hit, you know, for lack of a better word. Like I said, it's just very unique in those top notes. And then as it dries down, I really do kind of love that whisperiness of the Palo Santo. Like I mentioned, I'm not really getting much of the frankincense or the myrrh. For me, those two just don't really stand out. Maybe it's just sort of boosting a little bit of the Palo Santo experience. Maybe it's also giving a little bit more of a full-bodied experience to the ambroxan and the ambrette. And then, as I mentioned in the dry down, it truly is all about the ambroxan and the ambrette with a little bit of that butter creaminess, vanillic experience going on. So I know I keep mentioning that buttercream is not listed in the notes, vanilla is not listed in the notes, but it's got to be in there somewhere because it really does feel present in this perfume. So in the end, my first impression of this perfume was incorrect. I thought it was kind of basic, nothing super special, nothing super original, but it turns out that how I feel about it now is the opposite. I feel like it is on the original side of things, and I feel like the top notes are incredibly original, incredibly unique, and I don't really find that I get that experience from any other perfume. So I do feel like I am a little bit obsessed with the top notes, and I am actually craving the top notes of this perfume. And then as I've sort of kind of worked through it with this review on camera, that I do feel like the base notes of this perfume, the dry down, is a really lovely ambery type of dry down, albeit on the light side of the amber family. So yeah, really beautiful perfume, really enjoying this a lot, especially in the colder months. I find that it is very cozy, kind of like that cocooning type of perfume that wears close to the skin. It'll be interesting to see if I enjoy wearing this when the weather gets warmer, so stay tuned on that. But overall, very impressed with Glossier Doux, and I do recommend it if these types of perfumes do sound appealing to you. I will also make mention that I do find the middle notes where that Palo Santo just kind of comes in as a little bit of a whisper is also very lovely as well. So not super overpowering for those of you who want a hint of Palo Santo, but you don't want to be knocked out by the Palo Santo either. So that's what I think about Glossier Doux, and I will close by saying thank you so much for watching my first video on my perfume channel. I really, really appreciate it. If you liked this video, please do give me a thumbs up, and I will say that I am open to any and all requests on this channel. I am very, very open to what you all want to see. So if you want to see any particular perfume be reviewed, definitely let me know that. If you want to see a particular type of perfume family be reviewed, I will, you know, try and gather up perfumes that I have in that particular family that I think you all would be interested in. If you have heard me mention a particular perfume that I have in my collection, you know that I have it and you would like me to review it, obviously I am open to that. So I am open to any and all things perfume related and creating content around that. And if you would be willing to subscribe to my channel, I would absolutely love it if you would do so, because of course, for algorithmic reasons, the more people subscribe to this channel, then more people will know that I am out here doing perfume reviews and putting out perfume related content. So definitely subscribe if you are so inclined to do so. That would be really amazing. I would so appreciate that. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.